of taking down their opponents. We're into picks and bans. Vitality take out Braum, G2 take out Italy.
Sorry,
Go
I was
ahead.
say no surprises here.
Yeah, exactly. You have to take away the Italy. Both these junglers are exquisite when it comes to that champion, and G2, I think Vitality is almost happy that they don't have to first pick the Italy, because you really don't want to give it over to Trick. Maybe G2 could have operated with some kind of bait and switch, you know, give the Italy, take 2 more power picks.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, some bans well, at least a ban we don't see too often anymore. Lissandra banned away here. Yes, Vitality on blue side will have a little bit more of the pace in picks and bans to look at a target ban. Not so much specific to Perkz, but it's against the play style. Perkz is the kind of player that likes to get in the mix early with the Lissandra claw, get a couple of people hit with that ultimate, chunk them down for an early.
Yeah, to touch on that point, does that mean that Vitality maybe goes for the Corki first pick here, because we see these early champions kind of picked out wise, Trevor?
Sorry, Caboshot's feet were on the desk.
Oh, did he show them? Yes, he wanted to show his
have
shoes.
lights in them, and he follows the shoes, the wink at the camera.
Yep.
I really was trying to listen, Kripo, but I was dazzled by those shoes.
I logged up to Skype this morning. I see a message from Cabo. It's like, yo, Bogos, make sure you show my shoes because we have something special planned. So
I hope he plays Taric at some point because those shoes were as fabulous as Taric is. Gentlemen, back on topic. First pick, Kalista for Hyanin.
Well, does Emperor have Jhin in his playbook would be my first question coming out of IEM. That's what we've seen players pick up to deal with it. Jin's a fairly new champion.
my other question here is G2 gonna just pick another Braum because it's left open? Braum Corki would be honestly, nope, it's not. That's not a question because Braum is actually banned. There was something in the way in my defense blocking that ban on my
shoes
screen.
blinded you. You couldn't see the
Two
ban.
bright lights. But yeah, I wonder if we see the Corki then here. It would be a good early pickup. Perkz kind of monsters on that champion overall earlier in the season.
I feel like I'd like to see the Gragas come out here rather than the Elise for Trick. Yes, it's not quite the same catch early game, but as soon as you get that ultimate available, it's the kind of champion that can start the team fights. That's one of the problems G2 have had, is if they don't have good engage options, they don't really know what to do at times.
Yeah, Gragas comes out, that means instantly Sin response in nearly every single instance of competitive play.
Vitality very quick on the next lock-in with Shook. Locking in Lee Sin, as you've mentioned, and the Janna focusing, so leaving their solo laners for the next rotation. Oh, we're getting a close-up now of the shoes. That's,
can we get
a,
instead of like a picture-in-picture and the owl cam, can we get a shoe cam?
Shoe cam. Just want to see whether they, you know, the further ahead they get, the brighter they glow.
Hey man, it could be a good sponsor opportunity right there, you know, just leveling up the European scene.
Well, I quite like this setup when it comes to what G2 are looking for, but I feel like there's enough options to deal with the Rammus here. You've got the kick, you've got the Janna. Rammus is very good when you can get on top of people with the flash, but if you've got the disengage coming out, is it enough?
That's the CC component done, but how are you going to kill him?
That's
literally
true.
It's literally suicidal to play Kalista into Rammus. You do get benefit that you can eventually pop all those stacks. Maybe the way to deal with it is put a lot of Ren stacks on a minion and then carry them over to the Rammus. Just at all costs, avoid actually hitting the champion because you will three-shot yourself with a very interesting and high-skill build. That is Randuin's Frozen Heart Thornmail.
What does G2 then lock in as their final champion? Vitality.
Ooh, whoa! I can't believe they actually picked Azir. This champion is...
What? Well, both picks are crazy, but there's Nasus. I mean, I guess the gates are open right now for this one. Nasus is a champion that, okay, you've got to kind of concede most laning phase. You want to just sit there and farm against a Rammus. You will have a fair amount of magic damage coming from that lane.
Yeah.
And if you just stack up, if you've only got to hit the Rammus once, and just kind of smack on him.
Yeah, you smack him once, but more importantly, I think this might be just an Emax. This will be an Emax early in Nasus 2. AFK shove, you just ignore the Rammus and you smash into that tower, and eventually you get so strong. You also have, I think, Armor Shred on your ultimate available from that Nasus 2 overall. So we will need to see Kikis at least respect the Kayn.
I cannot believe we've seen this. For the record, Vitality have hobbled Nasus every single game for the last 3 weeks, so it's one of those funny business things that they've been holding in their back pocket, and there's the answer to the Rammus. We'll have to find out if it will work out shortly. The flags are lit. This is our match of the week. Vitality taking on G2 eSports. The stage is set. The lineups are locked. It's time for the game. Mano a mano, a fight for first place.
그냥 잘하시는 것 같아요. 운영적인 부분에서 엄청 잘하시는 것 같아요. 각자 피지컬도 다 좋으시고.
I think like we already have them figured out since like the start.
슈 피지컬 좋은 선수긴 한데 가끔씩 무리하는 플레이가 있는데 그런 플레이 잘 잡아내서 잘 잡아내면 될 것 같아요.
Back onto Yarn, and Shook nearly eats it too. And Trick wants to make sure of it. A pounce, a swipe, a kill.
They always just look to fight, and it's not that smart of a game plan.
I think there's a problem with their bot lane. It's like one guy wants to aggro, the other guy wants to stay back.
They're always scared of us, so I'm looking forward to playing them.
Always scared of us, Shook says. The last time these two teams met, it was Vitality that came out on top. If Vitality want to own the head-to-head in the very competitive top 3 spots in the bracket, they have to win this match now.
I can't believe we've got this Nasus. It was a crazy game as it is, but we finally, well, I say finally, we're seeing a pick that in solo queue has started having a big effect. You can obviously go the very loved ZZ Rod and Banner build, because on Nasus, it's just like you stack up for 30 minutes and you don't actually need a damage item, because it all comes from that siphoning strike. So will we see the Emacs that you were talking about? I'm interested to see how Cabo plays this lane.
Yeah, we might. G2 putting a dog as a bait right here. G2, I wonder if they want to lane swap to keep this Nasus down, and if Vitality reads that, and that's why they're setting up for the pickoff here. This is going to be brutal.
Oh,
Surprise!
yeah, come in. Cabo's got backup. The Spirit Fire is dropped. Kicker's trying to waddle away, flashes to safety. A lot of stacks on Hybrid as he's forced to now flash, and Neon will pop a high stack rent.
And again, Vitality, you know, it's brains versus brutality right here. G2 always want to fight. They want to get that lane up right now, so they aggressively invade. Vitality were ready, waiting around the corner. There was this little hesitation. At one point, Vitality thought, did we mess up this bait? Because if a bar Q connects on 2 targets, suddenly the whole picture looks a little different.
Hybrid did use his flash during that, so I'm assuming we're going to end up in the lane swap that you were talking about, try and shut the Nasus down, so shouldn't have the highest of effect here. Good luck getting like this Nasus in the Rammus out of lane. Keystone Masteries are on your screen. Almost identical, just that additional change on Janna.
Yeah, just early pressure here from Nukeduck though. He's going Thunderlords. Usually you see just more auto-attack modification on that Azir, but he's just going for the straight early Thunderlords pressure.
Also, I believe we're on the patch that was hotfixed so that Fervor of Battle isn't applied on the soldiers anymore. So it was changed midway through 6.4 because it wasn't as intended. I believe that's the patch we're on.
Of course, both supports going for the Spellpiece Edge to start and get that poke down and additional damage and tower. The lane swap plays out. Let's see who's going to get the tempo, because this weekend or past weekend at IEM, lane swaps was the theme of the tournament. I think that's fair to say. And here are two teams who, in theory, should be on top of the game, because we've been seeing that style of lane swap here in the European LCS for a number of weeks, Crepo.
Yeah, G2, decent lineup here. The good thing about Nasus in the lane swap is though, look at this, abilities being used to just get these minions down, because ideally you want to be hitting the tower while your AoE spells take down the minions. We see an early group here pushed up from Vitality. It seems like they're slightly ahead here.
Whoa!
There is some tower damage, but mid lane.
Slide and glide. Nukeduck's already ignited, forced to cleanse. A dash forward from Perks. The Mimic is in there, confusing the case. Nobody's died yet. One more soldier strike. Both mid laners flash away. And that is why this is the featured matchup.
Yeah, Perks coming away with his life there. Should have died. Shook was enabled here, was waiting in the wings to get an assist at that fight, and if 1Q connects, that would be massive snowball, because so much experience would be lost there for Perks, but he managed to get out alive.
So much was used in that lane as well. Perks thought he had the kill pressure, so had that ignite down means for the next couple of minutes, this mid lane may actually kind of regress and become a lot more defensive. Nukeduck is not going to want to make those plays now with no summoners, no cleanse, no flash. He probably isn't going to want to go too aggressive here.
Yeah, this begs the return from Drake into the mid lane here. Perks can dash in, get a chain, and at that point Azir should die because Body Slam flash follow-up should be enough.
Yeah.
No more cleanse available. In addition to that, the tempo was on the side of Vitality. Cabochard is slowly controlling that wave in the top lane, and when he sees somebody on his ward, just like Vitality bot lane gets spotted here on the ward, the reaction will come out.
The Rammus is here.
Dun Trick is coming down with Gragas too. They're hunting.
Dear.
This is a very good reactionary play.
Hunting the Wombat, and Vitality's in trouble. The Body Slam flash connects. Kasing will be forced to flash away. Hybrid's trying to run interference, and the taunt will hold him in place for first blood.
Yeah, and this play is actually only works if you're behind in the tempo, because then people will walk to your lane, and they, in a desperate attempt to accelerate the game, Vitality will be able to get that, will be picked off there, but we have to see at what cost the play comes, because in the top lane, you have to remember this Nasus is still farming up. So yes, you lose your support here, But overall, Vitality aren't really that punished because this lane is still frozen in the top lane. And this is why you never panic, push out a wave until you see somebody on the ward in your lane.
And gentlemen, this is a game where we get to play the Count the Siphoning Strike stacks. Currently on 30 for Cabo Shard. You can see on the bottom left of your screen. I promise to keep you updated with how much he's going to be able to bonk people on the head with.
He will have lower siphoning strike stacks than you'd expect until you put a lot of points into Q. The cooldown on it is fairly long. He's E-maxing now, so he's going to be able to push waves very quickly, just will have a slightly lower number. One thing we saw from Cabo Shard there in the top lane, some of you may not be super familiar with Nasus, you get more stacks off the cannon, so it's always better to siphoning strike the cannon than it is a normal minion if you've got the choice.
Yeah, Vitality, despite the minor setback that they get in that first spot, still even on gold. More experience on Cabo Shard 2, a level 4 versus level 3, and more importantly, they're already ahead of the play here. Look at the bottom of your map. That wave is set up, pushing in. So they're playing phase 2, start delayed of the lane stop, but Vitality is yet again ahead in tempo, and they're gonna push here, and especially with Nasus approaching that, he will get the wave bounce to them, and he will then get another experience and minion advantage on top of Kikis, so it could look grim here for Kikis in this game.
There is also another phase past this, is do Vitality have a fast enough push if G2 aren't defending to go for the inner tower straight away with the Nasus? It's good pushing power.
It really is. The flash taunt, Nuke Duck's locked in place, Barrel comes down, and Trick, still
fine.
not level 6, cannot use the explosive card.
Oh, and this is a very, very ill-advised reactionary play because right now Vitality, yes, they do have that push because they see 3 people mid, they see their top lane tower still like under deconstruction, so they just push on forward, they clear out another wave, they can now choose to bounce it off the tier 2 or simply chip away at it.
And what a great example of these two teams and the preferred play styles. Teleport comes out from Cabo in the top lane.
Such a good TP because they know they've already got the push bottom lane. They know the reaction is going to be so late. And this slows everything that Emperor and Hybrid were trying to do in this top side. They weren't pushing fast enough onto the tower. They hardly got it under half health.
So yeah, and this is all the cost of 2 plays. Initially behind in tempo, they went for the pickoff on the bottom, but you have to make that work. You have to kind of kill the AD carry. If you just kill the support, it's almost not worth it because Cabo Shard is now snowballing ahead, and he's a player that can always use a lead to get ahead.
Does Emperor want this fight? I think he does. He stood on top of the Spirit Fire. The Wither is coming down. Cabo's chasing him. Fear the Cane. Cabo smacks him on the head for a one-on-one. He's going to put the Fury of the Sands down. Flashes over the wall. No follow-through from G2.
Later.
Gets a kill.
He's out of there. I mean, Cabo, what? Emperor just was like, well, he doesn't have Q stacks anymore. Oh, that Spirit Fire is doing a lot of damage. That initial hit from Spirit Fire is deceptive. If you've never played against an Emax Nasus, you're just going to be like, well, I just didn't think that was going to do so much damage.
Enough ARAM to know the fear of Emax.
Pulse and I actually played a game with Deficio on that, and it didn't go so well for us, but I think this is going to be better from Cabo.
Let's take a look. A little bit of challenge around the Rift Herald as G2 zone away. This is going to buy enough time for the Rift Herald to reset. So small slowdown in favor of G2, but there's still 1,000 gold behind the play and a tower down.
The only timing we need to have for this Rift Herald is his massive wave in the top lane. Look at how slow Hjarnan is pushing his in, because ideally, in Vitality's ideal world, they want to slow push, build that wave in the top lane, get the Herald buff, and then move over there and use that as a big push. So this delay here from G2 eSports is actually big because at least some of these minions have disappeared and will disappear on the tower before that Rift Herald push comes in.
Yeah, that is a big factor. Perkz wants to go in, continue this pressure in the middle lane. I feel like for G2, Perkz has to start picking up kills and go huge in this game because with a Nasus, with an Azir, you don't want to go late game. It doesn't matter how tanky your Rammus and your Gragas are, they're going to die to these 2 picks.
Very good Cosmic Binding from Hybrid, at least to dissuade the continued pressure. 50% of the HP is down thanks to that minimum wave being chipped away. And Cabo is now down bottom against Emperor again.
Yeah, plenty of wave there on Cabo Shard. He is right now level 6 versus Kikis is level 5. Just comparing experience here, more than a full level ahead on Cabo Shard in addition to that kill he got. And he's also just accelerated. He has core items, he has some basic movement speed, so it's unlikely that he gets caught out again. So he's in a really good place to really just accelerate that lead, whereas Kikis, he's struggling on a tank from behind.
And of course, in our pregame for this matchup, we talked about how G2 are a very bloody team. They secure kills and give away deaths, with Vitality the opposite. Great play from Perkz. It's somewhat equalized on the trade as Nukeduck arises a Sand Soldier in his face.
Not only that, Nukeduck was like, okay, well, you've used everything. I'm going to walk forward, pull a soldier up, get more damage on your exit, and actually start to even out that trade between the two. So Nukeduck very confident in this matchup. It's one that last year we would have seen a lot of times when Azir was in the top of the meta. So clearly hasn't lost a step.
Yeah, it's just really hard for LeBlanc once that Negatron comes down and you get put out of one-shot range on the Azir. You just put a soldier on the Mimic of your Distortion and you just back away. If he's next to you, well, you hit him. If he goes back to his clone, well, I guess you're hitting him still. And because you can rush early Abyssal, it makes it very hard sometimes for Perks to win these trades without any jungle interaction.
G2 really like these aggressive ganks, but look, they're going to find Shook, gentlemen. Flash is available for Trick. He uses it, throws Shook into the middle of the team, and that
Shook
just
could have
looked all
flashed.
too easy.
Shook could have still flashed because there was another barrel coming out right after that E, so it seems like our Gragas has never learned.
I was thinking that. There was somewhere in my mind, Deficio's voice was, don't auto, don't Q.
But it did not matter. Nukeduck goes golden. Next to the Tempered Fate, but no additional follow-up from G2. And Cabo's even going to wave clear to defend the tower. So G2 get themselves their second kill of the game and a little bit of damage on the Alpha turret. As well as some pressure up top. Kikis has been left alone for a little while. He's pulled back up in CS.
That was just rough from Perks. He went aggressive, and the soldiers were already there. Before he even W's in, he had to W to escape the damage, and then forced to take 2 more shots from the soldiers. Nukeduck showing us a couple of tricky things already with Azir. Keep in mind, Azir was changed quite a while back now. Patch changed so you'll always travel to the end of his queue when you jump to his soldiers. There's a couple of new play patterns that'll emerge from that. I wonder, you can kind of draw a horseshoe around your opponents and throw out your ultimate in the middle of it. I'm kind of anticipating whether we're going to see Nukeduck pull that out.
I'll try call it the horseshoe if I see it.
If you can.
Sounds like an exciting play-by-play term as Vitality pick up their first dragon.
We'll see if it's lucky for him.
Perks will continue to wave clear. A little bit of pressure coming in now from the middle lane as Vitality are playing a little bit of a G2 style wait in the bush. And Perks, he's actually gone aggressive. There's the wall back. Perks gets interrupted as he goes back to his Distortion. Just fantastic. Flash one lost onto and Nukeduck gets a kill.
Oh, Nukeduck with the beautiful read here. Nukeduck was never trying to hit Perks. He was just straight in EQ towards that location of the clone. Then he uses his ultimate and it's almost guaranteed to hit Perks unless he flashes. The immediate follow-up as well from the team. They're wasting no time in between these CCs, chaining them beautifully. Knock up into kick, which is a knockback. At no given moment can Perks actually flashes. He eventually panic flashes out and then he gets taken down. This was an absolutely beautiful gank from Vitality.
Really good. And Vitality's next move is up to this top side alongside the Nasus. Very difficult for G2 to do too much here with the amount of just denial of any kind of engage attempts that Vitality have. Anytime somebody tries to walk up on them, you can put Wither down, you can put down the Spirit Fire. They've already lost enough health that they really have to think twice about the fight. Cabo's even opting for extra CDR because, as we said earlier, a lot of Nasus damage just comes from that Q. So the faster you have that available, the same with the E, that's everything that Nasus wants.
Well, it is time for the update on Whack-A-Mole. Cabo plus 120 on his Siphoning Strike. We'll continue to grow that one up. 81 CS to the 58 of his opposite number Kikis. And then every other lane is pretty even. Trick has done a good job of farming up on that Runic Echo's Gragas. Somewhat expected though, as he's been left alone.
I mean, that has been Trick's style overall, focusing a little more on extra camps, a little more on spiraling ahead of his enemy jungler. That's why Nidalee is such a power pick for him, because she clears the camps incredibly fast. Shook, however, has been a slightly more gank-oriented player. He just makes sure his lanes are in the game, and then he reaps the benefits from that later. And he has been at the right place, at the right time a couple of times. That level 2 gank, for example, could have been a big surprise on Perks.
Oh, we've got the next evolution of the, well, I guess the same evolution of Medjai's Janna here. Dark Seal on the Janna already. This tower is likely to fall. Rift Herald into top tower is already super low. So very easy decision to make for G2. They'd spotted Nukeduck in the bottom lane about 30 seconds ago as well. So they know there's no real pressure to deny.
Yeah, first real macro mistake here from Vitality, trying to defend that tower when it's obviously lost. They could have been setting up a cross map play, so they're falling a little bit behind on the map here. You see teleport home guards to rolling Rammus.
Let's see who's he gonna target.
Forced push in action.
Kikis is just a whole lot of nope, and he gets denied. Perks the double dash forward, and teleport whiffs for G2, but they tried to make a play after securing the top outer turret, as Crepper was alluding to. Small mistake from Vitality, and we are even Stevens as far as gold is concerned.
And a lot of that macro, I guess, misplay in that situation was Vitality didn't quite have the read on the Rift Herald as well as they would have liked, because, as I said, NukeDuck just pushed bot lane out on his own. They didn't have a teleport on Cabo to do that. And the fact that the team wasn't in either of the lanes meant they actually had nowhere to go on the map. It was time for them to kind of regress into the jungle, just take camps for a while, and it just gave G2 a little bit of an opening.
They took advantage of it, Stress. All right, how is the map shaping up? Vitality pushing out top with Cabo. He has teleport. Hyonin and Kasing down bottom, and they are about to run into both Hybrid and Perks. Hybrid's got access to that Tempered Fate. Tried to use it aggressively a little earlier. And Perks also goes somewhat aggressive on Hyonin. Well, mostly on the wave, I feel. Trying to clear that out. But G2 on the back foot.
Yeah, G2 in the back foot, and we're just taking a look here at the late game damage. If Janna managed to get the exhaust on Perks, then suddenly the late game damage in these fights is very low here for G2 Esports. So they need to find an opening. They have a mid game pick-oriented composition, and it's going to be hard to play into a team as calculated as Vitality, whereas Vitality almost have infinite scaling. Azir in the late game is an utter monster, and obviously Nasus never really stops on that whack-a-mole party.
You know, does Rammus count as a mole? Because Whack-A-Mole as Nasus into Rammus seems awfully appropriate.
I mean, we need to stop armadillo abuse here, because it's getting ugly already for Kikis, and we're only 16 minutes into the game. Cabos are convincingly winning that matchup.
Whack and Armadillo doesn't have the same ring to it, though. It's a little bit more difficult to bring out. But
I'll try it out. I'll try it out. We'll see how it goes. But Cabo's got his hands on the Frozen Fist, just completed. Iceborne Gauntlet, Sunfire Cape for Kikis, so opposite items. Both Coles are just about done. I can see Emperor 3 CS before he finishes his, and first item completed. So Kalista now working, Hyonin is working his way rather towards the Hurricane.
Yeah, I like the Borg first here. Obviously, just if you're gonna play against the Rammus, percent damage is gonna be what you'll want eventually, and you want to stack spears and you want lifesteal to stay alive while you're whacking away, because that's the matchup he's gonna face. He's gonna be hitting Gragas and Rammus the majority of these fights. I don't think Kalista will ever get access onto the backline unless NukeDuck delivers them on a sandy platter.
well, he also doesn't need to, realistically, when you look at it. If they can get Cabo even remotely in from the side into the fight, it's going to be a matter of time before he two-shots Emperor in the late game. The same with NukeDuck. NukeDuck will bring the backline to them with the Emperor's Divide. Yep. So there's a lot of options here, but you're right. Cannon's primary function is never going to be, oh, I'm going to get a squishy target.
Yeah, and cool thing too is you can wither LeBlanc as she's dashing in, and then when she returns to her clone, she's actually very slow and very prone to counter engages. So all Kasing and Cabo need to do is just survive the initial burst, survive the initial jump, slow her down, and then chase when they're trying to retreat.
Well, let's see if Vitality can do that. Kikis' teleport will be available very, very shortly. After that failed Powerball aggressive move middle, he's still down 25 plus CS, and Cabo is shoving him into that turret over and over again.
Yeah, Vitality looking to set up a bit of a siege in the mid lane, because obviously when LeBlanc is under pressure, she has to use her dashes to wave clear into enemies, and that's very risky. But G2 are covering the side lanes here. Once mid lane is safe, they roam to the bottom.
All right, Tempered Fate flashed. Hyonin still alive. Does not get away from the barrel. Should be taken up. Lady the Rune King as well as heal. G2 secure a kill, and do they have pressure? They're going to potentially lose their outer turret. It's not over yet, gentlemen. Kikis gets a Powerball onto 2. Tremors will slowly clear this wave out. Teleport is going to be used, and the boot back. Kikis is delivered to the waiting hands of NukeDuck. Kasing gets rid of Perks, and Vitality secure the tower.
Now the question is, does that bottom lane tower go down in response to it? Yes, it does. So ultimately, the tower change is in favor of G2, but you've got to look at the fast push that Vitality are going to have as this game goes longer and longer. They've now opened up the entrances to G2's jungle by taking down that mid lane tower, and it's going to give them the freedom now to move very quickly between any remaining towers.
And don't forget, this wasn't 2 for 1, because Ship's corpse is still on the floor here. Vitality need to equalize the tower though, and they make Reed a little bit doing so. NukeDuck should be fine overall.
Still got that Emperor's Divide. And
hang on, they see him rolling from the side.
They see him rolling. Do Vitality see Kikis hating? The Powerball flash forward into Taunt. It is cleansed away. NukeDuck flashes out of the chains. Perks unable to pick up the kill, but he will drop Kasing instead. It's not the target they were looking for, but it's the one they got.
Yeah, and this is a good multi-layered play from G2. First, they take care of the mid lane. Then they roam to the bottom lane, and while they go from bottom to mid, from mid to bottom rather, Kikis tag teams over and he holds the wave long enough for the cavalry to arrive. And now G2 get another pick because Vitality was greedy and they're looking to take down this tier 1 tower. So G2 with a really good opening. That roam in the bottom lane, synergy between Tempered Fate and then Trick using a good explosive cast. Kind of set up for that play.
And that second part of the play there, yes, it didn't work the last time G2 tried it, but doing his best Fred Durst impression, he's just going to keep rolling into these fights off that teleport. But this is the play here onto Kikis. The TP to keep the minions alive allows Shook to go all the way in.
Yeah, Perks just completely one-shots here. Kasing even has to flash ulti a little late, so he didn't expect the damage from Perks here on Shook. More importantly, Cabochard was also a little late. That TP could have came in earlier, that tower could have went down, because Nuktuk was so afraid of the zone from Rammus, he stopped hitting the tower. So for the first time this game, we're seeing miscommunication, not exactly on the same page from Vitality, and the immediate punish from G2 Esports.
And this was Vitality all just standing mid lane because they feel secure around the Sun Disc, which realistically isn't going to do too much at the rest of this play because they move away from the safety as Kikis TP's in, and from here it's fairly straightforward. Good flash to try and get in, but the cleanse was available. That's the one thing you've got to keep track of.
And unfortunately for Kikis, it allowed Nuktuk to get away. There was still a kill secured for G2 though, as they dropped Kasing and then were able to secure another tower. So it's 5-4, but Dragon number 2 and the damage over time now in favor of Vitality. Kikis, oh, instant Monsoon. Trick is going to roll the barrel out and the Monsoon goes slightly the wrong direction. No flash for Kikis, but a couple of big cooldowns used.
And he's in a good spot right now though. He got back into the game with these ganks, with holding for his team, and he has picked up quite some armor right now, sitting on 230 right now, 21 minutes into the game. That's without W activated.
Let's see how much that does for him.
Yeah.
The later this goes.
I can't wait to see the Cabochard siphoning strike onto Kikis. I think it'll happen at some point, and it'll be very interesting because I think Cabo's on around 200 stacks as he's going to get run down. This is the 1 on 2. Emperor has red buff available. Fury of the Sands is out. Tempered Fate once again flashed away from Cabo. It's not done. Siphoning strike chunks Perks, but Emperor will secure the kill, and there's nothing to take for the rest of Vitality. Very shallow wards in G2's jungle.
It's the same kind of play for G2 again. Is Vitality are caught out on the map, not really having any objectives. They're showing mid at the same time, and you can bring 2 people down like that. It's very close to actually trading even there for Vitality, and Cabochard being in a 1 versus 2, nearly being able to take out Perks is an indicator of the rest of this game, so those plays are going to start becoming far less apparent.
Yeah, this is why you can't kind of play into G2 style, because usually when G2 goes for that roam, you cross map, you take a tier 2. But G2's like, you know what, take all our towers, we'll just keep killing you, and eventually you have no more cross maps to make other than Baron, and they keep going for the aggressive move overall, because the gold is still slightly in favor of G2 despite being down a tower.
Well, there's going to be a point that if they keep doing that, Nasus is just going to TP into the base, 2-shot both Nexus towers and win the game. But I can definitely see your point on that one. It's just the impending doom of this incredibly fast tower pushing comp from Vitality.
And of course, G2's ability to find kills in the mid-game was very well highlighted. The problem is running out of objectives to push down. They've already secured 4 towers, setting up deep vision in this left quadrant of the map, and Baron has been up for 3 minutes, so maybe a pick into Baron could be an option for G2.
Yeah, fantastic Baron vision here from G2. I wonder if Cabo is going for the ZZ overall, because it gives you magic resistance and a whole lot of it, which is really good into Thornmail, because Thornmail reduces, even though it's like physical-based interaction because you're hitting the guy, it is actually magic damage being returned. Look at LeBlanc and Gragas too. These are some of the members that Nasus will be interacting with, because the Wither will go on Emperor in these fights.
Yeah, it's also the same, the Rammus damage off his W as well is magic, so it's one of these nice little items to go alongside it. There's very little AD threat, and especially when Cabo hits his ultimate, it's like, well, kill me now, because I'm going to heal it back up with the Spirit Visage, with the E being down, and once you wither somebody, you're just going to chunk them to death. So that there is obviously a point of the Vitality have to get to for that. G2 are still slightly ahead in this game. And Perks has picked up a number of kills, now got a Void Staff, which means you know, he's got damage, and he's going to show that to us.
Good combo from Perks. Trunk shook down to around 20-30%. He's not super tanky, all things considered. Hyanin has flash, but chooses not to take it. The body slam misses. Trick was a little early. Perk does need to jump backwards with the distortion, and Cabo throws down the Spirit Fire. A full channel culling almost exclusively on Cabo Shard. And G2 are able to get the teleport out of Cabo.
They get the teleport. They also, you know...
They get some background music on their bases there in unison.
That was an uncharacteristic misplay by Trick, though, with the body slam.
Yeah, it's just a little bit deep. It's just Hybrid setting his team up for a very tough decision. Like, you saw the hesitation. Do we actually want to dive this? Isn't this a little bit too far? Because there's a reason Hyanin didn't flash. It's not because he didn't see the ulti coming. It's because he knew he has time after the ultimate expires to make the decision, am I under enough threat? And potentially baiting his opponents. He loses a lot of momentum. But then G2 can obviously portal out with the really solid sound effects that it makes.
Indeed. Nukeduck will sidestep the chains. Takes one of those sigils. And the Sundisk is back up to Nukeduck to continue the pressure in this mid lane. QSS was purchased by Hyanin a little earlier. And G2 still maintain a gold lead. They've got themselves double the kills. They're down a tower, but they've kept themselves relevant. The scary thing is, that ticking time bomb of Nasus
here comes another TP.
is continuing to grow. The teleport will throw Kikis at a mile a minute. He's found Hyanin. Emperor's Divide dissuades G2.
Yeah, G2 that play works under the assumption that Taunt sticks right there, but Hyanin has the QSS to get out, and then a beautiful disengage from Nukeduck. And that's another TP being used in vain here for G2. This is a big moment, even though it looked like nothing and both teams got out. The block for the next 4 minutes here on that teleport from Kikis is huge.
It's also the indicator that the actual targets for that taunt now has run out. The cleanse is available for Nukeduck, so the next time you make it, you're not going to get him. You can't get the squishy target of Hyanin. You don't want to taunt Cabo Shard all that much because it's not really going to do too much. Yeah, maybe you can take away the no stacks from the Dark Seal right now, and Kasing's going to have the ult to blast you back. So the actual valuable targets have started to completely fade away for Kikis. And honestly, I like this reaction from Vitality, punishing the Rammus pick in the draft.
And nobody gets connected by the Tempered Fate. The barrel actually knocks Vitality away. G2, another haphazard engage. It doesn't cost them yet. Cabo Shard takes a body slam to the face. Kikis rolls forward, face call. The trigger is pulled, and Kasing decides to throw himself towards the Armadillo. Doesn't really find anything. Cabo temporarily stunned against the wall, but he's very beefy. Fury of the Sands is about to wear out. G2 reckon they want in. A full channel on the Monsoon will heal Vitality up, and we're in for a long one, boys. Hyanin will not go down thanks to a good exhaust from Kasing. Perks' damage is reduced, but Vitality, they're on the retreat. Cabo plays whack-a-mole. The kick is good, as Kikis is knocked away. There's a re-engage from Emperor, and he picks up the kill, and Vitality, they lose Cabo.
Yeah, while they lose Cabo Shard, I have to commend Kasing for an absolutely beautiful team fight. 3-man full channel Howling Gale, followed up by a good Monsoon to save it, instant exhaust on Perks while he's mid dashes, and then another 4-man Howling Gale overall. We don't really see it, but that prevented a lot worse things from happening. But overall, G2 do a really good thing dancing on the edge of that fight, just slowly poking away, not committing too far, really communicating with each other and winning that team fight and eventually getting the dragon.
And that was the difficulty for Vitality, is even though they had the heal coming from Kasing, they still were getting chunked again and again in that team fight. And that's G2's earlier game strength here, is able to output the damage in this fight.
Watch right here. Kiki is distracting the bottom line. First channel from Tornado is about to come out. It's going to hit 3 people right here overall, so that's really good. Kasing resets the fight here, but Vitality have to get out because they're only real hard engaged. Again, here's the exhaust coming onto Perks. Watch the other NATO coming out right now from Kasing, hitting 4 people overall. The only form of engage is a kick flank from Shook. That's the only hard CC they have. And unless they go for the horseshoe, Shurima shuffle, call it what you want, Vitality are very predictable in team fights. They only have damage.
I don't know how much I like this. G2, they're going to turn though.
They are going to turn. Shook has been taunted. He will go down. Tempered Fate is sidestepped by Vitality, but Emperor is feeling aggressive. Flashes forward, sidestepped, but it's not going to be enough for the barrel. Perks cleans up Nukeduck, and G2 secure 2 kills.
Cabo teleported incredibly late and probably shouldn't have even teleported at all at that situation because he instantly cancelled it. as Nuktuk and Kasing got locked down. A good bait out by G2. They committed a little bit to the Baron and pulled all the way back to catch Shook.
Yeah, we can't taunt the Kalista. Q says we can't taunt the Azir. Let's just taunt the jungler, take the Baron. Top lane arrives too late, and unrelenting aggression with a wealth of crowd control effects, body slam, taunts, cast over, like everything was available to G2, whereas Vitality relied purely on the kick and maybe the knockup from the Kalista ulti, and that's, you see the disparity here between these two compositions.
Well, this was the beginning of it again, as you said. Very easy to decide who to end up going on. Shook was the only one there, as Nuktuk even dashed himself out of that. Yes, there's a lot used by G2 when you look at ultimates, but they're getting so much from this. They know all they need to do is convert this into 1 or 2 kills and then just go for the Baron, go for the objective. And the Baron is going to undo a lot of what Vitality's composition offers. We talked about fast push, a lot of wave clear, all of its magic damage. Against this Baron buff up, now all you've got is the Kalista to walk forward and clear the waves out, and she's going to die if that happens.
And it begs the question, how disrespectful was this Nasus pick overall? Yeah. Cabochard, while looking fancy in the later stages of this game, has no impact, because he's not built entirely for split push. He's like a hybrid. Yes, Nasus can split push, but it's too slow. The CZ Walk came out a little too late, and he hasn't had the pressure. And G2, they realized that, and before the split push pressure comes in, they just immediately start the Baron. They don't want that Baron. They just want you to face sick, eat the crowd control effects, and Vitality wasn't respecting that enough.
And, you know, we talked a lot about how G2, if they started to fall behind or just didn't have the tempo and the fast aggression throughout the entire game, they weren't really thinking about what options were the best for them. It seems like in this game, at least, G2, as you said, pulled that option out, and it was exactly what they needed, was go on to the Baron and see where that gets them. It's got them towers already just above 3,000 now on the Baron power play.
Yeah, now they break open this kind of team fight comp that Vitality wants to play, because their split push component is gone. Nasus can't outpush a Baron minion wave, and G2 just use their pick comp to split push, and that's what you do with the Baron buff.
Well, we're going to get control of the tower. Teleport's available as well. Kickers wants to try the roll in. It's not been super successful yet, but they seem to find the target onto Shook if they can catch him. Emperor's going to do a full channel on the Cole just to try force and zone Vitality away. But Vitality are doing relatively well of holding. Kikis goes in. He's found Emperor. Emperor's knocked up by Kasing, and they're shut down by Nuktuk.
Such a good kick from Shook. It found the needle, threaded it. Whatever
he threaded with a needle in the haystack. That's what you're looking for.
What I was trying to say was he found the one opening that was available in the bottom lane to get himself in for a kick on such a weak member now. Emperor's just going to die if he gets blasted forward, so screw the analogy. It's just a good kick by Shook.
Yeah, really good kick by Shook. The Howling Gale again follows up. You know, whenever you see a portal come down as Janna, you definitely want to send it that way. Because if you can knock him in right as they enter, just screws up the momentum here. Perkz looking to push, has double distortion available. Wants to keep Doggy on a leash. Doggy's angry though.
And Perkz will try again.
Smack, smack.
Yeah, that was ill-advised by Perkz. Fantastic play by Cabochard. He's like, you have 3 options. I will take 1 away by standing on 1 distortion. You will die if you stay in front of the tower, and then I will just flash if you go to the last distortion. But that was just greedy by Perkz.
Oh dear. You got me with that one, Mitch. You got me, and just a Shook got Emperor there. Kickers was trying to peel, but it wasn't quite enough. Kick straight through. Wow, we're back into a fight.
We certainly are. A lot of Ren stacks on Trick. We'll get a heal for HP to bring that one back up. He's going to back away. Now Kikis is in trouble. He's rolling to safety thanks to that power ball. And the Emperor's Divide reset the fight. G2 don't lose more, but they are once again defending. And Cabo's going to continue farming up in that bottom lane.
That's what you do when you get flanked as Rammus. Assume fetal position, but instead of cry, you just start rolling your way out of there.
Go the other way.
Yep.
Aha, the third fight. It's wide open. Wide open as an exit.
Kikis rolls his way out of there, and you see just the damage. It's rough right now for Vitality, because Kikis could just buy so much time. He just kept 2 members busy there. Obviously, I have no idea what happened before that. I assume red buff was that important that we needed a full-on fight in the jungle.
You always do. It's the way it goes at 33 minutes in. We've gone past G2's average game time.
Can we get a stat count here?
Ah, yeah.
Right, as the Q has been Cabochard, over 380 stacks with his current AD, 400 plus 150, around 620 damage on a 2.8 second cooldown. That is a whole lot of damage every time he throws out that siphoning strike. Dragon number 2 going to be secured by G2. No real contest here from Vitality. No absolute control. G2 have bounced back with kills. Vitality, I think fair to say, controlled early in the mid game. But now it's somewhat reset, somewhat evened itself out.
Yeah, you talked about the siphoning, right? It's actually surprisingly low for an asset at this point in the game. So it just shows you that Cabershot's focus has not been stacking up that Q, has just been pushing the waves as fast as he can. He's obviously, hasn't been able to split push as much due to certain decisions at certain points in the game where Vitality lost the control, and G2 really good using their aggression here to catch people out, just like Cabershot's here being cut out.
Let's take a look. The fight's going to continue. Cabershot is still alive. He was the one that was caught. Teleport is coming in from Kikis. Monsoon will keep everybody alive before it's interrupted by Tempered Fate. Cabershot, the man who was caught out, will drop as the second death of the fight. And G2, they're not done yet. They're looking to siege the base.
I mean, Kink is down. This could very well be a push almost for the game, I would say, if it weren't for those minions dying so quickly. So lack of minion wave. If they had a Baron buff here, they could have went for it. But Rammus is tanky with a lot of armor, so it does look like G2 is at least considering to feel out what defense Vitality have against this push.
G2 are more than considering it. They're going for it. Nexus turret is being focused down.
Look at Chook. He's getting the wave right now. That is the prime objective. You don't want to fight them because that's so hard to get those towers down without the armor reduction. So the little sneak away at the wave shows us exactly what we expected.
And it may just have saved G2 the Vitality the game there. G2 were looking to push on to end that. Nukeduck even died in that fight. It looked like with his cleanse and his flash available. I wonder whether the window for that was just about to come back up as the fight started. But Vitality now are looking to rush back out onto the map, get the wards down, and try for one desperation play on this Baron. 15 seconds until it spawns.
Yeah.
Cabo's going to teleport as well. They're putting all their eggs in this basket.
They have Ren to execute here and pretty tanky members, but seem to go for the play. G2 is in control though, because they fought in a choke point right there, playing against Bard with a little long dash here now. Gragas holding the front line. Cabershot stood still and watched himself die. As much attention that he had as his pretty shoes there, he really couldn't do much in that situation overall. Because G2 is really identifying their strengths. Vitality need to fight in the open, wither somebody down, and get a flank from Shook. That's what they're looking for right now.
May get their opportunity as the pressure has rolled into lane. Kikis does not have teleport, but he seems to be going to deal with that very big lane down bottom. And G2 will then need to respond. Sundisk is thrown up in the middle lane by Nukeduck, and Vitality, they peeled back to the Baron.
They're going to start it right now because Rammus was obviously in a bot lane split pushing with no teleport. This gives Vitality the chance to get at least a lot of stacks in there.
Ooh, good damage.
Already. Let's deny one entry from Perks. More stacks here for the Ren, but it's too little.
Focus here.
Tempered Fate is available for Hybrid. If he can find a target, Perks will throw down some damage.
The forced rotation here forced them out, at least threatened the fact that you could run down mid lane. This Vitality means for Vitality what they have to react. I get it massive, and now G2 is the one starting this Baron, and suddenly where Vitality was denying entry, G2 is the ones holding the gates here, and it's so hard to face like into a Bard.
It really, really is. Tempered Fate finds nobody. Baron is peeled away at about 50% HP, and Kikis is trying to distract people. Emperor's Divide will slow down the continued initiation, but Hjarnan is left for dead. Howling Gale comes up. Hjarnan picks up a kill. The bonk comes down from Cabershot as he takes out Perks. It's a 1-for-1. Both mid laners are down. Cabo's running out of mana, and Hjarnan is running for his life. Does get taunted by Kikis, but will not be taken down. It's Vitality that have taken the lead in this fight. The magical journey is available for G2 to try peel away. Cabo's looking for more, but 2-for-1.
But you see how close these fights are. If at any point one of the 4 bindings that Hybrid threw out hit, it would have been over for Vitality, but they did such a good job juking, stepping, sidestepping some chains as well. But you see how closely they are threading the needle right now. Any misstep loses them the fight. Let's watch this again. It's 1 Q down for Hybrid. Chain goes on to Cabershot, doesn't matter. Ulti misses for Hybrid. Shook gets body time down, but no follow-up. Another Q here misses for Hybrid. Kasing will now get knocked in. They're constantly wary of their surroundings, and yeah, they're just barely missing all these plays.
That knockup though from Kasing once again turns this team fight around for Vitality, because Cabo gets the opportunity with Hjarnan to take out Perks, and that's the majority of a lot of the damage that Cabo's going to be worried about in this fight gone. Now it's just a case of turning around. You can't catch up with him because a lot of the crowd control is gone here, and you don't want to chase through the mystical journey. You're going to get bound and never manage to catch him.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to step into that portal. And then just the little things like Hjarnan walking away from that Rammus, refusing to try and even auto-attack hop, just doesn't want to get any return damage, doesn't want to get closed in. And then when he's sure he has a target down on lockdown, that's when he turns around.
Really heads up play. Something we've seen a lot this game, Crepo. Take a look at the mini-map. There's a lot of minions down bottom. Shook is caught out. Trick is zoning out Hjarnan. The barrel knocks Hjarnan back, but there's not a lot of support from the rest of G2 because they were busy killing Cabo Shard. Kickers continues to pull the attention of Vitality as Cabo is focused down. And G2 once again punish Vitality.
Yeah, we see the difference. When that fight is in the open, then Vitality can sidestep some of these chains, bindings, ulti, and they have exit paths. But when you fight in the jungle, in these choke points, it becomes very easy for G2 to leave you with only bad decisions. Either you get hit, or you step into a part of the fight where you are completely zoned out, and G2 can turn on a lone member, and that's exactly why Vitality loses this fight.
Yeah, and Vitality is somewhat in panic mode right now. Cabo's like, well, my damage is fairly low. I can't wave clear reliably with my ult anymore once they got Baron. He's actually just picked up a Tiamat, but this was this enclosed fight once again.
Yeah, Hjarnan gets knocked in, he's a target, so he has to disengage out. Look, they're stuck on the left side. Kikis is only 3 members, while the remaining lineup here from Vitality deals with Cabo Shard. And obviously the start was a good engage to force Hjarnan on the defensive too, and in these small closed encounters, the usage of Portal is excellent too, because you can get over walls, but Vitality can't really get over, so it just gives you so many options if you are G2 Esports.
And G2 Esports are using those options. Dragon number 3 secured after their second Baron at 40 minutes into the game. That movement speed is just going to help them out even more for Kikis' Powerball roll in. I mean, he's still, you know, roughly almost 100 CS down, but thanks to all of the kills, the towers, the Baron Gold, he is nigh unkillable at this point.
Yeah, he has like something like 460 plus armor when he has his W activated. That's absolutely insane.
It really, really is. Trick has access to the explosive cast, not going to use it yet. Kikis, Shook rather, jumps in to kick Trick backwards. Sunders comes down, but Shook loses his life for the trade. Emperor's Divide will take one back on Trick, but the front line of Vitality is gone. Kasing's trying to buy time with the Monsoon. Nukeduck will follow shortly. I feel like that exhaust was a second late, but it may not matter anyway. Hjarnan gets a kill back onto Hybrid. It's now a 2v2. Emperor is going down to Hjarnan. Hjarnan gets a shutdown goal. He finds another one for the quadra kill.
Hjarnan with some absolutely solid spacing, really good ultimate from Kasing, but more importantly, Perks put his head into the Azir wall. He just got knocked back when he distortioned in, and that completely lost the fight here. Kikis was flanking, but Hjarnan really aware of his surroundings, and suddenly all expectations upside down. G2 surprisingly win that fight, or lose that fight rather.
And Emperor kind of went aggressive there, was not expecting the morph.
How much
and
can
the
they
shield.
take?
They can take inhib at least. They're not going to push around. 15 seconds here on Hybrid and Trick. It's not even worth. It's tempting to go for the any Nexus towers. They should be able to get this inhib in 10 seconds and then bail.
Yeah, they won't make the mistake that the Unicorns just made, which was basically win the game off a team fight and then pull all the way back to losing the game by overcommitting to Nexus turrets. Vitality still have a tough task ahead of them because of their composition, but certainly this fight is going to go a long way.
Just way better terrain to fight it. Open space, suddenly the Azir tower, Sunday's tower gets placed down. We see Shook go in. This is a beautiful ulti from Hybrid. Defensive bar ultimate is very underused. We see Kik is doing such a good job in the background, but here, that dash in from Perks denies Nukeduck from dying. He goes long enough to soak damage. Hybrid's flash is now used on Nukeduck. Look at the return damage from Hjarnan. So it all boils down to that one play, just at the very edge of that Azir ultimate.
And here the shields on Hjarnan. Yes, Emperor has a lot of damage. They both pop the QSS, but Hjarnan, after the fact, has the more shield.
Oi.
Oh, whoa, and he doesn't anymore.
No, he does not. There's a 65-second death timer, and Vitality, despite having super minions in the middle lane, they now need to defend their Nexus turrets without one of their primary damage dealers. G2 will even out the inhibitor trade, and they're going to set up for more.
No
Tremors will help. No cleanse on Nukeduck, as you rightly point out, and Nukeduck is going to be forced to the fountain. Cabo's trying to pull interference. The Nexus turret is down. This could be the push for G2 Esports. They're looking at the next Nexus turret. Emperor's going to get poked away. They're continuing to pressure. The kick knocks up G2 as Kikis goes down. Trick is trying to pull people away. The tower still stands. They've run out of minions, and now Emperor is going toe-to-toe with Cabo. He started the defense, and it looks like he's going to end it. Shook has gone in, but he's fighting on 3. The distortion back. Cabo's going down. Emperor's looking for the kill. The Nexus turret is finished. 10 seconds before Hjarnan is back. Cabo goes down, and G2 Esports have done it. They've tied for first place. Tough game for both teams.
But the draft is, yeah, it is something else. That NAS is just, because it leaves Vitality with just so little opportunity of engage and actually forcing fights. And if G2 is a team that dictates the pace of these fights and all you gotta do is disengage, it is bold to play that. I respect, the Kane, I respect the Nasus pick overall, but Cabochard, it feels he's not the player that should play it though, because he's such a good champion to excel 1v1 matchups, skill matchups, outplay. To see a matchup Cabochard versus Kikis with some of these simpler champions, I think that plays more into Kikis' favor.